We are back with another edition of The Drive for oddschecker.com. I am Geoff Fienberg. With me again is Andy Lack. It's Players Championships season, Andy, and feels like maybe they've stopped advertising it as the fifth major because I guess a lot of the live defections, it would be silly to boost it as such, but nonetheless, classic golf course, enormous field, everyone, biggest purse of the year, I still think, in golf. So whether you're a legacy player or a cash money player, the Players tries to bring out the best in everyone.
Yeah, I love this week. I can't say I do well at it year after year, Geoff. It's a tough. It's not necessarily a tough golf course to predict because the formula is simple. You just have to be comfortable with the concept that great players, guys that make a ton of sense on paper, guys that you are used to hitting fairways and greens, guys that have great stats leading in that typically hit fairways and greens. Every year there's going to be a couple of them that's going to make a 7 on 17 or shoot themselves out of it on some of the tough par fours on the front nine, which I like. I like in the sense that it's a golf tournament with a lot of variance. There's a lot of fun holes to watch down the stretch. Except when it's Scotty Scheffler doing Scotty Scheffler things last year. So I'm excited to step in front of that. I know he's putting better, but let's talk about the board, my friend.
Yeah, so we will get into the board, and you mentioned the variance of the players, Andy. It's really marvelous. It's like you'll open up that leaderboard, you'll see some of the best players in the world, 4, 5, 6 over par. And then
Yeah.
you'll see other guys who are just having their way with the course, because if you are in the right spots, you really can get around. I don't want to say easily, but you can score. We see it every single year. The dichotomy of very similar skill sets with completely different daily experiences on this golf course is something as golf fans we can marvel at. You teed it up. Scheffler, it's been a while, but he returned, and we know what he would do if he's like just a zero putter, and we see what he can do when he truly excels at the putting. It seems like the books have made a consensus, Andy, staring at the odds checker grid, plus 550. What that has done is it has pretty much pushed up every single player in the field, including Rory McIlroy, who is now as high as 14-1 when looking at that odds checker grid. I mean, would I love to bet Scheffler? Of course, but I like just picking my guys. I tried to see how much money I needed to like putting in the digits to bet on Scheffler, and it just didn't work. I don't know. If he wins, congratulations. I'll give a high five to everybody who bet the running back to score first touchdown and he found pay dirt, but it's just not me. It's not how I go about it. It's not how I'm going to make myself whole on the season, Andy.
Me as well. I looked right past him, Geoff, and I'm not cocky enough to say that I'm not afraid of him. Of course I'm afraid of him. He's hitting the ball better than anyone we've seen since Tiger Woods. If he starts to continue to putt with some semblance of consistency, he's probably the best player we have seen since Tiger Woods. At least on a week-to-week consistency standpoint. I'm not necessarily suggesting that he's going to become the major performer that Brooks is, but just on a week in, week out, what he's showing us from tee to green is something else. I think if you want to take a little bit more comfort and solace in the fade, we have never seen a defending champion at the Players ever finish better than fifth. Okay, that's including like prime Tiger, some of the best players that we've ever seen over the last 40 years in elite form after winning the Players have never finished better than fifth. In fact, we have only had 5 multiple time Players Championship winners in this tournament's history. So, it's a really tough golf tournament to win twice. It's probably maybe the toughest golf tournament on tour to win twice, probably the toughest golf tournament on tour to defend. So, I understand Scheffler's a different animal, but I'm with you, Geoff. It wasn't in consideration for me. I don't think you get rich betting golfers at
If you
5
had
to
to
1
bet,
and
if you had to
150 man
bet,
fields.
like if you had to bet Scheffler here or the Masters, where would you prefer?
Masters.
Because of the
Yeah.
variance, right? Like just
Because the variance and because Augusta, like there's this massive correlation between guys who win a green jacket and then struggle in their title defense and then win the year after that. Like that happened with Phil, that happened with Bubba, that happened like 5 times in the 60s with Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. So yeah, I mean, I think Scotty Scheffler has a better chance to win the Masters this year than he does the Players, which feels crazy to say because this tournament doesn't have John Rahm and Brooks. But I would rather bet like 7 to 1 Scheffler at the Masters than I would 5 to 1 Scheffler at the Players. But call me crazy.
yeah, that was maybe unfair of me to put you on the spot, but it's just something I was thinking, and I would probably agree with you with that sentiment. So we'll move into the 20s. As I mentioned, everybody's gotten pushed back. Justin Thomas at 22, I'd argue this morning he got pushed back, but you know, people for obvious reasons have seen a lot from Justin and want to be there. But Xander at 22 checking the grid, a consensus number on Patrick Cantley at 25, Victor Hovland at 25, back-to-back 75s on the weekend might be scaring some people. Max Homa at 28. I could make a case for all three of these guys. I don't know if anyone wants to trust Xander or Cantley. I could argue that, you know, their clean slate, you know, just even keel golf might be absolutely perfect here, but I have made not a single move in this range. How about yourself?
I made 2. I bet JT at 25 on Sunday evening. I bet Xander
Yeah.
Schauffele today at 22 to 1.
Yeah.
Um, and here's the thing with
Talk me
Xander.
more through on Xander than JT, because
Yeah,
JT, I mean, people with they've been
yeah,
seeing the come up from JT.
right,
Xander almost seems like you would need to talk people into a lot harder at this moment.
right. I think JT is easier to make a case for the former player's success and just the way he's playing this year and the fact that in the past he's shown us he can win big time events. Something unlike Xander's been able to do. I will say this about Xander. Maybe this is just in my head, but like what Ricky was doing in the mid 2010s before winning the Players in 2015 is like so similar to what Xander is doing right now. Um, and I just have it in my head that Xander in the 2020s is like Ricky in the 2010s. People forget how good Ricky Fowler was from like 2010 to 2015. The guy finished top 5 in every single major in 2014. Okay. And Xander Schauffele, there's just something about this tournament where he feels like he's the Ricky Fowler of the 2020s and he's going to win the Players and then never get the major that
Yeah,
everybody thinks he's going to get for the next 5 years. I gave you no data there. I gave you more of a Geoff Fienberg answer than an Andy Lack answer,
sure.
but I just see this happening where it's just like, I just see Xander winning the Players and then disappointing at major championships for the next decade. If you want data, I can give you that too, but it's a
I mean,
feel for me with Xander this
I mean,
week.
the data is he's just so clean across the board. I mean, every
Yeah,
statistical metric. I was looking at it today on the like he clearly is right there. You just have to be able to trust his ability to get over like a winning hump, because statistically it all makes total sense. And of all these guys in the 20s, and Andy Xander, um, you know, Cantley, Hovland, even Max, even though Cantley and Hovland have tour championships, I would argue, like for all of these guys in the 20s outside of JT, this would be the biggest win of their career. I don't even think that's
yeah.
a debate, really. And there was a time before the last few years where the Players almost served as this like great breakthrough event for a long period of time. You kind of mentioned it with Ricky not being able to take the next step. We could do a whole show on that, but we will move on into the 30s, because that is where my first bet of the day is, Andy, and it probably wouldn't be hard to figure out. Am I swimming around Hideki Matsuyama? Of course. Could I think this does it feel like the Players' Championship? Sawgrass would always be a perfect place for Colin Morikawa? Absolutely. But for me, it's Will Zalatoris. I was
That's what
there.
I was gonna
Yeah.
good tease because
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I would have guessed if I had to make a guess, Willie Z for
Yeah.
you, but you kind of teased us there with the Hideki con. Yeah, no, it's got to be Willie
Yeah,
Z
it's
for you,
got to
right?
be. If I was on the wheel wagon last week, I just can't jump off. Like I just can't jump off. He's really gotten around this place lovely. As we started to record, I see a Justin Ray stat. No player has missed more 5 to 10 foot putts at Sawgrass in the last 3 years than Will Zalatoris. 29 to be exact. It is put a gross feeling in my gut. But at the same time, it seems like there's a totally new approach with the flat stick where I'm you have to make reasons to bet or not bet a guy. I am just convinced myself that that doesn't matter. This is a just completely different Will Zalatoris with the flat stroke, far from perfect, but still much improved from previous versions. So that's where I am. I mentioned I am swimming around Hideki, but Will Zalatoris is my first move. For me, other tempting names around here as well. Certainly Shane Lowry just seems like a perfect Florida golfer continuously. You could always kind of talk me into Ludwig. But in full disclosure, if you didn't notice, I am somewhere else. And in this new world of betting and betting responsibly, I'm sort of been geolocated out of my sports books. So it's not like I can just fire like I want to. But Willie Z, 30 to 1 is where I am. If you've got a strong take, anything here, Andy, let's say in front of 50 to 1, any of these guys you're swimming around or have already bet, lay it on me, or just got a strong opinion on any of them.
Yeah, because I did 22, 25, I kind of priced myself out of this range. My next bet's at 60. With that being said, if I was hitting this range, it'd be Zalatoris or Hideki. As you mentioned, I have major concerns about Spieth right now. I don't think the Players is a type of tournament for debutantes to win as much as I love our guy Ludwig, but oh man, don't get me started on how frustrating he was for us last week. So yeah, I'm with you on Zal and Hideki would be my favorite in this range, but then I start cooking. I've made four more bets, but they are 60, 80, 100, 125. So my card's complete. I can give you everything. Just tell me where you want me to go.
Yeah, we will get there. 10 seconds or less. Should I matter that Fleetwood, like, are we allowed to just accept that you can get gotten at Bay Hill and not overreact
Yeah.
if you've been in really good form? Because so many guys' numbers have, and it's a byproduct of Scheffler. Like, right? It's truly a byproduct of Scheffler, and some guys didn't get around Bay Hill. It ate them up good that we've seen so many players' numbers balloon. Fleetwood went off last week at like 28 to 1. Now he's 50. We are still in Florida. Give me like 10. Give me just quickly on Tommy.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought this up because it's really dumb to just look at a giant number from Bay Hill and say this guy stunk. Okay. Rory McIlroy lost 3.5 strokes on approach at Bay Hill. He lost 5.5 strokes on approach on the sixth hole. Okay. So just because he decided to be a bozo and go for this crazy high slinging draw that ended up in the water every single time he pulled it off, every single time he tried to pull it off, like Rory was a good iron player at Bay Hill. He just lost 5.5 strokes on approach on one hole. Tommy Fleetwood lost 5.5 strokes on approach on the sixth hole in one round. Okay. So that 10 that he made, he lost over 5 strokes on approach on that one hole. I think he lost about 8 for the week. So, the irons weren't great overall, but what 70% of his bad number at Bay Hill was because of 3 bad shots. So yeah, Fleetwood's fine this week. I like him on this golf course.
So as we mentioned, so many guys in many ways saw their numbers take quite a bit of uptick. I will say someone who surprised me that the getting price was the same as last week. I was hoping for a bit more. You may have caught it this morning, Andy. Corey Connors, 60 to 1 on that odds checker grid. I know there were early morning 80s where you happened to be. Were you one of those with a quick finger?
I love Corey this week. I mean, the short game worries me a little bit, but man, like the dude's gained over 11 strokes on approach in his last 2 starts, and he's played well at the Players before. So yeah, I'm big time team Connors this week. I think Sawgrass is like a perfect type of golf course for what Connors does well.
And just like, so I have made another bet in front of 100, and I've thrown a couple haymaker bombs, but guys that I'm looking at feel like Finau 65 to 1.
65 is a crazy number.
Yeah,
What's going on? Why did he skip API though? And like, does he have a court case going on? Like,
I don't.
there's
Yeah,
something
okay.
going on there.
There's a legal situation going on. Maybe that's caused some of the distractions. That number could be big enough to jump in on, and just using that odds checker grid, Andy, seeing players over at FanDuel like Tom Kim 90 to 1, Sung J M 90 to 1. I made a move there, and it was on Sung J. We
Yeah.
finally saw it go in the right direction last week, and despite how poorly he has been playing, I feel like the results haven't been as bad as some of my perceptions were. Doing a bit of a deep dive, but finally seeing him, like, after I think 5 straight starts losing with the approach and gaining a couple at API in a difficult week, that 90 seemed too high for me to not flirt with. So I'm in on Sung JM at 90 to 1.
Uh, I love that play. I've been circling Sung Jae as well. I went with what felt like a similar option to me in this range in terms of like what are the types of guys that have both played well at the Players in the past. I maybe have a little bit more confidence in this guy in terms of how he's playing right now with his ball striking, but the number was a little bit worse. I went Siwoo 60 to
Yes.
1. He's down to 45 in some spots. So Siwoo has caught some considerable steam. I don't think I would feel comfortable with like a 45, but there's still some hanging 50s out
Okay.
there, which I
Can
think are
I
okay.
put all the air in the Siwoo tires for you for a
Please,
moment?
please, please, please.
I saw, courtesy of Alex Blickel, that Siwoo is with he is one of 3 players that includes Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler. Uh damn it, people with their NFL news. He's one of 3 players here with Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. I wish I had this better. Now I'm just really embarrassing myself.
I can filibuster. Don't get me started on NFL news today. I don't need to talk about my Giants.
Strokes gain, driving
Yeah,
accuracy.
yeah.
Siwoo, he's come in just behind Scotty and Rory. It's very beautiful group to be in right now. He is right there with 2 of the most accurate drivers in the world. So that makes total sense why the number was steaming. Apologies, it took me a long time to get, but I knew there was a reason why from the data standpoint that some of you guys were just
Yeah.
steaming this guy
We're
today.
we're drooling over Seawell in the data
So
community.
that's Connors, Siwoo, finish us off here.
Do we need to talk too much about Tom Hoagie, who's like the best iron player in the world outside of Scotty Scheffler? That 100 that I bet is like I don't even feel comfortable giving it. I don't
I
think you
would
should bet Tom Hoagie at 50 to 1 at the Players, but you know, he's like the second best iron player in the world right now.
So someone who wasn't like was blocked from his books, I was really frustrating seeing people get these great early players numbers that I had no access to. And I'm just going to take a moment. We've probably already been long-winded. Andy, for the life of me, how we don't have players championship odds year round the same way we get it for all
Yeah.
the majors. This is like the PGA's premier event. And there are some books that are posting waste management odds at like
Yeah.
Christmas. How,
Yeah.
like, the players championship should be, I don't know, that's just me. Maybe it's just me in the
No,
betting like
I
space.
think it's because DraftKings opened that sports book in Phoenix.
Okay,
So
but
like
even
you look
still,
at yeah, no, I agree with you.
you're right.
I totally agree
Forgetting
with
that
you.
some books, that there is a book out there that does post waste management, there should be the player's odds. I don't know if it
Totally.
wants, but clearly that just shows you it's not what they think it is, but not that they ever tricked us anyway. So you've got one bomb, I've got two. I will start.
Give it to us.
I played Emiliano Grillo 150 to 1 today. Some people would say you should have taken that a little shorter, played the placings. I'm a little too greedy for thinking like that. Grillo is a form player who at the moment seems to be striking the ball beautifully. Obviously, he could clearly explode and find the landmines, but he is a player that I want to trust, and also a player that I just have to trust right now, Andy. And I'm seeing it as high as 170 to 1. I'm buying in on the Matthew Pavon. Like, he seems like a real
Yeah.
golfer to me.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can actually win the Players Championship, so it could be straight donation, but I could not bet Matthew Pavon at 170 to 1. So you got a bomb for us?
Yeah, I just want to say I loved the stat from my colleague Ron Kloss
Yeah.
that the last four winners of the Players since we moved to March have been gaining 1.5 strokes total in 2024. So essentially, like the guys who win the Players are the guys that are just playing the best golf right now, and the three guys who are gaining 1.5 strokes total in 2024: Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Matthew Pavone. So
Crazy.
there you go. There you go. That's a good feather in Pavone's cap. Keith Mitchell,
Oh,
125 to 1. Down to 90 in some spots.
yeah.
Man, Keith Mitchell's playing some great golf. Love him on Bermuda. I think you can be a lot more aggressive with your driver here with the Bermuda overseed. And he's actually been really good on club down courses as well. So Keith Mitchell, 125 to 1. I thought that was a phenomenal number on a player that I think is long overdue to ascend into the winner's circle.
I like that one a lot. A lot. It seems like everything continues to be ticking in the right direction for Keith. I'm not surprised that got steamed. Yeah. I don't know if I'll have room for something like that, but I got not a bad word to say about a Keith Mitchell bomb.
Okie doke, my friend. Who's your winner? Who do you think's winning this thing? One name. You can say Scotty, but that's
I'm
no
gonna
fun.
say Will Zalatoris because that's just, you asked me for a winner. I'm gonna name the shortest guy that I bet. That's just how I
Yeah.
roll. How
Yeah.
about you, Justin Thomas? Xander?
I think Justin Thomas is a better bet, but I envision Xander winning more
All
because I
right.
just once I got down the Ricky 2010 Xander 2020s rabbit hole, it's just like once you see it, you can't unsee it. I couldn't put I couldn't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like once I made the comparison in my head, I couldn't unsee it.
And then
So
yeah, and there's Andy. I mean, is a Xander pick? There's data to support it, but even Andy like can fall into like, no, I got to do this because there's peace of mind involved with this now. Once
right.
he visualized it happening, another great week. We're in the Florida swing. Masters season is coming. We got Valero and Valspar. Lots of fun golf as we head towards the Masters. Andy, I don't know. I like to see the star players continue to be stars. Hopefully, it's not Scotty Scheffler pulling up the green double zero on us. Although I feel like this week he'll probably be a lot more popular in the betting situations than last. For Andy, I am Geoff. This has been our look at the Players Championship outright betting board for Odds Checker. Smash that like. We will see you next week, friends.